Hi, this is Politics Girl, and this is my new series, The Argument Against Democrats. Part 1. Democrats spend too much money. They want government in every part of our lives. We've heard this one, right? So first and foremost, we need to acknowledge that the facts tell us that despite the conservative argument that they are the fiscally conservative party, over the length of any comparative, say, 25 years period of time, by any economic measure like job growth, debt, deficit, the Democrats have outperformed the Republicans for a century. Even Tyler Cohen, the director of the Koch brothers-funded libertarian conservative group, has agreed to this fact without argument. So if we agree that both parties spend money, they just have different priorities on how to spend it. Typically, Democrats spend in things like public works and legislation that help the lower and middle classes, while Republicans invest again and again in the military-industrial complex and the now fully debunked idea of trickle-down economics. Trickle-down economics is when you give more in the form of tax breaks and legislation to the very richest Americans and the biggest corporations, and then think it will eventually trickle down to everyone else in the form of jobs and better wages. But what's been found over the years, however, is that corporations and the very rich will take those tax breaks and those loopholes, and they will use it to buy back their own stock, or build new factories overseas, or store it in offshore accounts to keep it from being taxed, and then give it to their children as a form of inherited privilege for the next generation. So the trickle never really happens, which is why over the past 40 years we've seen a larger and larger wealth gap between the very, very rich and everyone else. It's why someone like Donald Trump can pay $750 in tax and then get a $72 million refund. It's why our public schools are totally failing and our bridges are collapsing, and we look around and we go, wow, and then AT&T and Amazon pay zero tax. So you have in your head that the Democrats want to take your money and give it to some poor person who doesn't want to work. But the reality is, the people taking the most money are the richest and the most successful companies in America. If you add to that the only piece of major legislation that has come out of the current Republican Party in the past 4 years is a $1 trillion tax cut for millionaires and billionaires, and then we've spent $150 million plus at the president's own golf courses, and the taxpayers have been absolutely decimated by this pandemic, and we're in the worst economy since the Great Depression, and the current administration is fighting against a relief bill for out-of-work Americans while small businesses all over the place are failing, and they're going to court still to try and take away our healthcare protections. And then I think you can see if there's any party that has their hand in your pocket, it's not the Democratic Party. It's just not. Don't forget to vote November 3rd.